Alrighty everyone, welcome to another video. Today what I'm going to do is kind of go through some of the best resources that I found out there and some other people have found out there that you may or may not have known about. So some of them are going to be blog posts, some of them are going to be articles, some of them are going to be YouTube channels. They might just be like a one-off thing that may be helpful, but they also might just get you to another person or another business that you don't know about that's going to have a lot of information that then you can go and look at the other information. So the first one we're going to start off with is on my website, powerliftingcoaching.com. Under services, I do have this free stuff section. So in some of my other videos you've seen, I've done the reviews of the training blocks, but below that, I've also tried to kind of collect a lot of information that I found online that may be helpful to people. And I kind of try to break it down into sections so you can go into which section you're looking for and see what's out there. I tried to also put in the author or the company that put out the information. So if it's someone that you like, then you can go look at it. So just to kind of go through and see some of the ones that I think are really good. Starting with the competition section. If you're a beginner, then there's a attempt selection and a making weight guide from Matt Gary. So I think that's very good information for people to have to kind of get an idea of what to do if they have kind of no idea of when they're coming into a competition, how to pick attempts or whether you should cut weight or you shouldn't cut weight and how to like track going in and all that kind of stuff. Under the squat section, Matt and Susie from SSPT also have this squat setup tutorial. Great video. This is one I've been sending out to people for years and years that kind of just goes over the processes of for squat, how wide to grip, how to get underneath the bar, how to unrack it and walk it out to be as efficient as possible so that you're not hitting the rack, you're not losing your tightness, you're not wasting energy, which becomes important, especially when you're going to heavier weights as a beginner lifter as you're transitioning, or if you're switching from raw to equipped and then all of a sudden you're handling weights way above your raw max and what you've handled before, this becomes more and more important. Also under the squat section here from personaltraining.com, there's a bunch of YouTube videos on there, but I like these where he uses a actual model of someone's levers for squats, and you can change the lever lengths. So he goes over different examples of what happens if you have a long torso, what happens if you have a short torso and a long femur, what happens if you have limited ankle range of motion, all that kind of stuff. So it's a really good video to kind of be able to see the different types of people that you may see in powerlifting, and you might fall into one of those, and also the different extremes of one end versus the other and how your squat can then change the way it looks. So you don't have to be that textbook torso angle or shin angle or anything like that. It all depends on how you are built. Under deadlift, for Mark Ripito and starting strength, I feel like the best lift that he teaches for the powerlifting lifts is the deadlift, specifically the conventional deadlift. So I always send out this deadlift setup video, and he has one or two where it's basically this going over the same setup, but it's just different videos from different years using different people. And I just think it's a great way as a beginner to practice your setup and get the bar in the correct position, get the bar touching your shins, get your torso in the correct position, and be able to pull. And then once you kind of learn that starting position and what it feels like having the correct hip height and everything like that, then you can always change your setup for whatever style you like. Going into the programming section, here from RTS, I have their free program there if you want to look at it. From Dr. Zordos, this video on daily undulating periodization. I think that's a really great video that kind of breaks down everything to kind of get into what is DUP, daily undulating periodization. I follow a lot of the principles based off of this video and the type of periodization since I learned from Dr. Zordos. So then you kind of get an idea of how we do our programming at Squats and Science and some other companies as well. All right, moving on to nutrition. This from Eric Helms, Team 3DMJ. Another one that I send out to a lot of people, Muscle and Strength Pyramid. He has several YouTube videos which goes over each level of the pyramid from most important to kind of least important. Really good information in there. I think everyone should be looking at. Right below that is also a website called examine.com, which you basically can then go and search any kind of stuff for nutrition, and it basically kind of gives you all information that's out there as far as studies, and it tells you what effect that thing has. Like let's say you look up creatine, what effects the creatine has, how strong that effect is, if it's significant or not significant, and how many studies are proving that. So a really good website there. So you can kind of see if you're taking supplements, whether that's actually doing the thing it's claiming, and kind of gives you also what kind of dosage you need. If you do like Olympic weightlifting, or if you are an Olympic weightlifter, I have all these videos here from California Strength, which are really good, breaking down the clean, the jerk, and the snatch, all portions of the Olympic lifts. And under miscellaneous, I like the Belt Bible from Greg Nuckols of Stronger by Science. Another article that I send out to pretty much everyone, because there's still a lot of misinformation out there on what a belt does, the benefits and the disadvantages, when to put on a belt, all that kind of stuff. So this kind of goes into the research of what effects the belt has, and then his recommendations based off of that, of when to put on a belt or when not to put on a belt, and what to do with accessory work and stuff to build up the core and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I have for my website. Going to our next one, the Strength Athlete also has here under resources. They have a resources tab and a freebies tab. So we'll look at both. First, we're going to look at the resources tab. Some of this information on here is the same as what I have. Bryce and I have communicated years ago about a lot of these articles and videos and stuff. So some of them do repeat, but he has some additional information and some additional sections. So here he has some just like general main sources you can go to. So Chris Beardsley for strength conditioning research, if you're into that kind of stuff, very good information there on his website. And he has an Instagram page where he posts up a lot of infographics. Here again, examine.com, again, strongerbyscience.com. This mass monthly applications in strength sport. If you want to pay for a monthly membership, this is a really good place where you're going to get every month just some different articles in the strength sport realm, and they break down what the research says and how you can apply it. So it's a good way as a coach to learn more. Again, here under temp selection from Matt Gary, he has stuff on bench press. Again, the daily undulating periodization video, some additional stuff here in defense of program hoppers, DUP revisited, and then here also another interview with Dr. Zorlos. So maybe there's some more information in that one that's not in the original one. Under equipment, this guide to lifting shoes, probably the most detailed article I've seen on lifting shoes, and they break down all the different types out there and what's good and what's not. So that one's really good if you're looking to figure out what kind of shoes, like for example, you want to squat with flats or heels. If you're into Chico and the Chico style of training, then here a relative intensity article. But on that forum, the Chico forums, there's a lot of information out there on daily loading, weekly loading, relative intensity, absolute intensity, all that kind of stuff like that. So good information there. Again, here from Matt Gary, making weight, stuff on stretching, whether it is effective or not. So a lot of good information on here. He has some stuff on pain that I don't have. So if you're wanting to look into the area of pain, you have that. If you're looking into philosophy, critical thinking, lots of videos, podcasts on that kind of stuff. Same thing with psychology, lots of good stuff here. Goal versus process oriented stuff. Again, some of the same videos. Here's some more stuff from Eric Helms. If you want to look more into the nutrition side, you can see things on caloric deficit versus surplus. I like this video on time under tension. This one also on what natural lifters have achieved. More stuff on mobility. He has a lot of recommended books as well, strength training related and non-strength training related. If you want to get more into strength training books, like you want to be a coach, you might want to look into the RTS manual. You might want to look into practical programming. You may want to look into science of practice of strength training. More stuff on nutrition, psychology. I have not read this book, but I've heard some people from powerlifters read this book, Outliers, from Malcolm Gladwell, and really like it. So that could be a good recommendation there. More things on philosophy, physics, all that kind of stuff. Podcast here. So lots of good information on this resources tab. In the freebies tab, just like me, where I have free programs, they also have free programs on information. So you can go and look at different free programs they have. They also have a free sheet for temp selection where you can put in your maxes and all that stuff, and it'll start calculating all your totals and your Wilks points or IPF points, all that kind of stuff for you, give you ranges, low, middle, high, all that kind of stuff. So good information there. More training blocks, more temp selections, warm-up timing, a yearly planner, data tracking. They even did a 531 program and they made it auto-regulated. So if you like 531, you may want to look into that. Nutrition tracking. So lots of good information here, not only for the sheets themselves, if you want to run a program or you want to do your temp selection, but if you are trying to build, like, let's say your own sheet for programming or temp selection, whatever, you may want to go look and just see how they present the information, go look at the formulas they use, and use that information for yourself. Next one we'll go to is Reactive Training Systems. Has a lot of good information out there under Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. But one thing that maybe isn't used as much is under apps. They have their own free training log that you can use online and track all your training on here. Then it starts basically analyzing everything for you. So you're I'm on a dashboard, but you can then put in all your competition lifts and track your competition throughout the years. You have a calendar so you can see all your training. There's different reports you can run. So for example, you come to reports and you can run whatever type of report on the information you have, and you can see how you've improved on squat, bench, and deadlift. You can see basically all the different stats, as well as all the breakdown of all the accessory work, stress index, all that kind of stuff. So then you can run a report on your training cycle and see how it went. They also have this track that helps you with figuring out your recovery. And then here's where you track all your training log information. So all this is free. So good information if you want to track your training instead of on like a notebook, and then you basically can't analyze it, or maybe you lose it. You can track it on here and be able to save it here for years and be able to record everything and see all your progress, all that kind of stuff. So you can check that out, reactivetrainingsystems.com, and then just go to apps. The last thing we'll check, hopefully everyone knows openpowerlifting.org, but some people may not know they have their own little apps section right here. So when you click on apps, and you'll see a number of things come up. So obviously first one is the Open Powerlifting website, and then there's the IPF version if you just want to look at competitors in the IPF and their affiliates. They also have the Open Lifter software, which is basically another way of running a competition, whether you're using Next Lifter or Lifting Cast. You can also use Open Lifter. There's a free version, and then there's also a paid version depending on what kind of customer service you want. They also have calculators for the IPL GL points calculator, and here for the new Wilks 2020 calculator. So if you want to calculate your points, you can use that, and you can use that in a competition as well to kind of see what you need to hit as a total to hit a certain amount of points. Some of the other things though, for example, they have a RPE load calculator. So then you can calculate what load you need based on the RPE you're giving it. That way you don't have to do all the calculation yourself. So for example, let's say we lifted 200 kilos for 1 rep at an RPE 8. So now it's telling us our estimated 1 RM is 217.1. Now let's say we're going down to our back down sets and we're going to do triples at a 7. So then it calculates that you should be, 7. Calculates then you should be at 182.1 kilos. So then you can figure out whether you want to do 180 or 182.5. But it's a good calculator here where you can figure out your estimated 1 RM and figure out what you should load for a back off based on the previous set, or maybe you're going up. So if you did 200 for 1 rep at a 7 and you're trying to go to 1 rep at an 8, then it tells you what your next one should be. Or if you want to jump straight to a 9, then it kind of gives you a guide of what your next one should be. So good information there. As well, you can then take that information and use their bar load calculator. So you can hit the bar load calculator and say we want to do 182.5 kilos. Then it tells you what to load on the bar for a 20 kilo bar with kilogram plates and a 45 pound bar with pound plates. You can change it too if you want to use clips and you don't have the collars, or if you have the collars. Again, under advanced options, lots of stuff you can do as far as rounding. You can specify your bar weight. Let's say you're using a different type of bar, 55 pound bar, then you can change that in there. And if you have certain plates, then you can mark what plates you're using or what plates you don't have access to. So lots of good information there. And then the last one they have here is like a little game for looking at depth. They don't have too many photos in there, so maybe something you want to do is submit your photos of your lifts if you want, help build up the database. But basically what you want to do is click on the ones that are definitively high. If it's parallel or depth, then you don't click on it. So we click on this one and it'll switch to another picture. So we click on this one, switch to another picture. If they all look like they're at parallel or a depth, then you hit the good lift combo, and then now I get 4 pictures. So then do the process again. Okay, this one's high. We go to the next one, this one's high, and you can just go through this and kind of practice your way of looking at different squats, whether they're raw with wraps, multiply from different angles, front view, side view, and kind of practice seeing what's depth and what's not. So a fun little game you can do. Like I said, some of the pictures eventually do repeat. So once you've kind of gone through it sometimes, then you kind of memorized all of them, but they may be adding more pictures throughout the months and years, and then you can always go and practice it again. But hopefully that helps you out, kind of getting an idea of some of the resources that I've accumulated over the years. Bryce Lewis has some of these other resources from RTS and Open Powerlifting to basically kind of help you get to good resources, whether it's, like I said, blog posts, articles, YouTube, Instagram, with their own forums, that kind of stuff. And then once you go there, if they have more information, obviously you can go look at all their other information based on what you're interested in. And if there are any other resources out there that you think are really good, then you can comment down below. I'll look into it, and I'll look into adding it to my website. And if you're trying to get to any of these resources, I'll have them all in the description below, so you can kind of just click the link and get to it. All right, hopefully that helps you out. Have a good day.